Hello viewers, how are you? Welcome to my channel Physics with Ramsa. So today we are going to solve NEET 2021 question paper in that to section B part. In this section we have 15 questions as we had solved 35 questions in section A in our previous video. Let's start the first question. A car starts from rest and accelerates at 5 meter per second square. Initial velocity of the car is 0 meter per second, whereas the acceleration of the car is 5 meter per second square. At t is equals to 4 seconds, a ball is dropped out of a window by a person sitting in the car. A ball has been dropped out of the window by a person who is sitting in the car. What is the velocity and acceleration of the ball at t is equals to 6 seconds, whereas acceleration due to gravity is considered as 10 meter per second square. Here we have to find velocity and acceleration of the ball which has been dropped by the person out of the window of the car. For this we have to find the velocity of the car at t is equals to 4 seconds. For this we consider v is equals to u plus 80, where initial velocity of the car is 0 and acceleration is 5 and time taken car traveled in a time of 4 seconds. So here final velocity is 20 meter per second. So this is the velocity of the car after 4 seconds. So after 4 seconds, as the ball has been dropped, we have to find the velocity and acceleration of the ball at t is equals to 6 seconds. So observe that we consider this as initial time and t is equals to 6 seconds as a final time. The difference between the times is represented as 2 seconds. So instead of representing t equals to 4 seconds, here we consider t is equals to 0 second. t1 equals to 0 second and t2 is equals to 6 minus 4 is 2 seconds. Within this time we have to find the velocity and acceleration of the car. Ball. Now since the ball is dropped out of the window, the ball will travel within a plane like this. As we consider the plane, velocity possessed by the ball along the horizontal direction is similar to that of velocity possessed by the car. So we consider this velocity as initial velocity and it can be represented as 20 meter per second. 20 meter per second. And acceleration along the x-axis is considered as 0 because it is moving with constant velocity. Along the y-axis, acceleration possessed by the ball is represented as acceleration due to gravity, nothing but 10 meter per second square, whereas velocity along the y-axis is represented as 0, initial velocity. Now as the ball has been dropped, it travels in this path like this. Now at this position at t is equals to 6 seconds means we consider it as a t equals to 0 means we have to represent at t equals to 2 seconds velocities along x and y axis. Since the velocity is constant along x axis, we consider the velocity as 20 meter per second, whereas we have to represent the velocity along the y axis. Again we consider equation v is equals to u plus 80, v suffix y equals to u suffix y into a suffix y into t. Initial velocity along the vertical axis is 0, whereas acceleration is nothing but acceleration due to gravity, nothing but 10 into time difference is 2 seconds. So velocity along the y-axis is 20 meter per second. Along the y-axis is 20 meter per second. Now we have to represent the resultant velocity based on these two velocities, where we know the equation for magnitude of velocity as v equals to under root of vx square plus vy square, where value of vx is 20 and value of vy is 20. So as we substitute, under root of 20 square is 400 plus under root of 20 square is 400. So if we can take 400 as common, as we take 400 as common, we can represent it as 400 into 1 plus 1 is 2. Under root of 400 is 20. So we get 20 root 2 meter per second. So this is the velocity of the ball after a time of 2 seconds. Means at t equals 6 seconds, body velocity possessed by the ball is 20 root 2 meter per second. Now we have to represent the acceleration. Since the ball is traveling along the vertical axis, the acceleration possessed by the ball is equals to acceleration due to gravity. So value will be 10 meter per second square. Option is 4. Take a screenshot. We'll continue. Observe the next problem. For a given circuit, the input signals are applied at the terminals A, B and C. What would be the output at terminal Y? We have to represent the output at this terminal Y based on A, B and C inputs. So whereas the inputs are represented here, 0 volt, 5 volt, 0 volt, 5 volt, like that the inputs are been represented. Observe that here we have 3 gates. One is AND gate and one is NAND gate and one is NOR gate. So based on these 3 gates we have to represent the result. So this result is being represented based on Boolean algebra. When the terminal is at 0 volt, we can say it as 0. When the terminal is at 5 volt, we can say it as 1. Initially, input for terminal A is 0. So 0 and B input is 0. 0 into 0. So here we get a 0. Whereas input for C is 1. 1 into 0. 0. 0 for reciprocal of 0 is 1. So this resultant 0 and 1 are passed across the NOR gate. 0 plus 1, nothing but 1. 1 is nothing but here again we will get a 0. Get a 0. And next observe that here at t is equals at t1, input is 1 and the input for B is 0 and the input for C is 1. So input for A is 1. 1 into 0 is 0 and next 0 into 1 is 0. 0 as we pass through NAND gate, it becomes 1. 1 plus 0 is 0. 0 as it passes through this NOR gate, it converts into 0. In this way we can represent the output. Whereas according to these options, we consider that 3 is the correct option for this circuit. Take a screenshot. We will continue. And the next problem is a ball of mass 0.15 kg is dropped from height 10 meters, strikes the ground and rebounds to the same height. The magnitude of impulse imparted to the ball is, whereas acceleration due to gravity G is equals to 10 meter per second square. So now we have to represent the magnitude of impulse. For this, here we consider a ball has been dropped from a height of 10 meter towards the ground and again it rebounds to the same height. Whereas impulse is nothing but change in the momentum. Change in the momentum, where we know that momentum P is equals to mv. Since the body is rebounding along the same direction, mv minus of minus mv, nothing but 2mv, where v can be represented in terms of height as v is equals to under root of 2gh. As we substitute this expression in this formula, here we get I is equals to 2m into under root of 2gh, where the value of g is 10 meter per second square and the value of h is 10 meters, as well as the mass of the body is 0.15 kg. Let's substitute all these values. As we substitute, observe that 2 into 0.15 into under root of 2 into 10 into 10. So 10 into 10, nothing but 100. 100 into 2, 200. So here observe that 2 into 0.15 is nothing but 0.3 into. For this 2 tens, under root of 10 square is nothing but 10 into under root of 2 is nothing but 1.4. 14414. So here 0.3 into 10, nothing but 3. 3 into 1.4. So 4 3s are 12. 3 plus 1. So here we get 4.2 kg meter per second. Option is 2. Take a screenshot. We will continue. And the next problem is a uniform rod of length 200 centimeter and mass 500 gram is balanced on a wedge at 40 centimeter mark. A mass of 2 kg is suspended from the rod at 20 centimeter and another unknown mass m is suspended from the rod at 160 centimeter. Mark as shown in figure. Find the value of m such that the rod is in equilibrium position. Here we have to represent the mass m which is hanging to the other end of the rod. Observe that here the rod is in equilibrium position, means here the rod is not going to rotate in the clockwise direction or in the anti-clockwise direction. It will be in rotational equilibrium. Based on this condition, if we consider the rod which is of 200 centimeters length from this end to this end. Here observe that at a distance of 20 centimeter, mass 2 kg is being suspended. Here this rod is being balanced by the wedge at 40 centimeter. So here we consider the wedge at this location. And another mass is balanced at 160 centimeter, which is of mass m. So as we consider the mass 2 kg from the wedge, it is at a distance of 20 centimeters. From the wedge, 2 kg mass is at a distance of 20 centimeters. Whereas the balancing of the rod will be exactly at the center at a distance of 100 centimeters from the center. So the mass acting at this, the weight acting at this point is represented as 1 by 2 g, nothing but 500 g. 500 into g is nothing but weight acting at the center of this rod. So from this center the wedge will be at a distance of 60 centimeters because 20 centimeter, and from this end point to this wedge we have 20 centimeters. 20 plus 20 40. From the center to this end we have 100 centimeters. 100 minus 40 is 60. So the distance of the central point, balancing point to the wedge is 60 centimeters. And observe that we are hanging the mass at 160 centimeters. So the balancing point is 100 centimeters. Remaining distance is 60 centimeters. 60 centimeters. Now we have to represent the momentum of this rod. Whereas the net momentum is given based on clockwise and anti-clockwise rotation of the rod. Net momentum is equals to weight due to 2 kg mass, nothing but 2g force into perpendicular distance. So what is the distance? 20 centimeters. 20 in anti-clockwise direction. In anti-clockwise direction. Why? Because it acts like this. Whereas this weight, the central balancing weight based on the wedge, it is represented as 1 by 2 g into, from this end it is at a distance of from the central and it is at a distance of 60 centimeters. 60 centimeters in clockwise direction. It leans like this. Next, plus mass. Due to this mass, weight is represented as mg, and from the wedge it is at a distance of 60 plus 60, 120 centimeters. Here, since the rod is in rotational equilibrium, the net torque acting on the rod is represented as 0. So here the net momentum is represented as 0. From this, after that we can take G as common. As we take G as common, 2 into 20 is 40 in anti-clockwise direction, and 2 3s are 6. So here plus 30 in clockwise direction. Next, mg into 120 will act in a clockwise direction. mg m into 120 in a clockwise direction. So here g will be cancelled. Why? Because 0 by g is 0. So here we consider positive sign for anti-clockwise rotation, whereas we consider negative sign for clockwise rotation. Then the expression can be represented as 0 equals to 40 minus 30 minus 120 m. 120 m. So 40 minus 30 is 10. 0 is equals to 10 minus 120 m. Then 120 m is equals to 10. So here 0 gets cancelled. Then m is equals to 1 by 12 kg. 1 by 12 kg. So option is 4. Take a screenshot. We'll continue. Observe the next problem. A point object is placed at a distance of 60 cm from a convex lens of focal length 30 cm. If a plane mirror were put perpendicular to the principal axis of the lens and at a distance of 40 cm from it, the final image will be formed at a distance of. So here we had considered a convex lens which is having a focal length of 30 cm and object is placed at a distance of 60 cm from this convex lens, and a mirror, plane mirror is placed perpendicular to the lens principal axis. Here to the principal axis it is placed and at a distance of 40 centimeters. Distance of 40 centimeters. Now as we consider the lens, here the focal length is 30 centimeters. Then we know that radius of curvature r is equals to 2f. 2f is nothing but 2 into 30, nothing but 60 centimeters. Observe that the object is placed at 60 centimeters, means the object is placed at a radius of curvature point. So due to this object, the image will be formed exactly at the radius of curvature point of the lens on the other end. Up to this extent we have 40 centimeters. 40 centimeters means the image is formed 20 centimeter behind the mirror. 20 centimeters behind the mirror. This image acts as object to this mirror, and observe that the distance in the mirror is 20 centimeters. So the image will be formed for this virtual object is at a distance of 20 centimeters. 20 centimeters, and here the image formed is real. So option will be 20 centimeters from the lens. Is it a real image or virtual image? It is a real image, because the image is formed outside of the lens as well as the mirror. here the image is from. So it's a real image. So option is 1. Take a screenshot. We will continue. And the next problem is a step down transformer connected to an AC mains supply of 220 volt is made to operate at 11 volt 44 watts lamp. Ignoring the losses in the transformer, what is the current in the primary circuit? We have to represent the current in the primary circuit. It is represented based on the input power, whereas input power is represented as a VI. Input power is represented as a VI, voltage in the primary circuit and current in the primary circuit. Whereas input voltage is 220 and output power is 44 watts. Output power is represented as 44 watts. So based on this, we have to represent the input current in the primary circuit. Whereas since we had neglected the power loss, we can represent input power is equals to output power. Whereas voltage is 220 into I suffix P is equals to 44. Then I suffix P, input current is equals to 44 by 220. So 22 2s, nothing but 2 by 10. 2 by 10 is nothing but 1 by 5. 1 by 5 is nothing but 0.2 ampere. Input current is 0.2 ampere. Take a screenshot. We will continue. Observe the next problem. 3 resistors having resistances R1, R2 and R3 are connected as shown in the given circuit. The ratio of I3 by I1 of currents in terms of resistances used in the circuit is. So here we have to represent the ratio of I3 current by I1 current. In order to represent this, first of all, as you observe, these two resistors, they are in parallel. In the parallel combination, we have same voltage. So since the voltage is same, we know that V is equals to IR. Based on that, we can represent I2 R2 is equals to I3 R3, where IR is equals to V based on Ohm's law. So based on that, we can represent I2 by I3 is equals to R3 by R2. I2 by I3 equals to R3 by R2. As we cross multiply this, again we will get the same equation. Add 1 on both sides. As we add 1 on both sides, here we can represent I2 plus I3 by I3 equals to R3 plus R2 by R2. Here, now we are going to represent the expression in reciprocal form. Then it can be represented as I3 by I2 plus I3 is equals to R2 by R2 plus R3. R2 plus R3. Let's apply Kirchhoff's first law to this expression. I1 is equals to I2 plus I3. So in the place of I2 plus I3, we can substitute I1. As we substitute, the expression can be represented as I3 by I1 is equals to R2 by R2 plus R3. So option is 2. Take a screenshot. We'll continue. Observe the next problem. In the product F bar equals Q into V bar cross B bar equals Q into V bar cross Bi cap plus Bj cap plus B naught K cap for Q equals to 1 and V bar equals to 2I cap plus 4J cap plus 6K cap and F bar equals to 4I cap minus 20J cap plus 12K cap. What will be the complete expression for B bar? So here we have to represent the expression for B bar in terms of product, whereas the force is represented as 4I cap minus 20J cap plus 12K cap. Let's substitute these values in this expression. whereas f bar equals to q into v bar cross b bar. Force is 4 I cap minus 20 j cap plus 12 k cap is equals to, the value of q is 1. So q into v cross b is nothing but v cross b itself, and we are going to do matrix multiplication for this. I cap, j cap, k cap. Value of v is 2, 4, 6. Next, the vector b is b, b, b naught. Now, we have to find the product of this, cross product of this vectors. I cap into 4b naught minus 6b minus j cap into 2 into b naught. 2 into b naught minus 6b minus 6b plus k cap into 2 into b minus 4b, 2b minus 4b. Now we can compare both the vectors and equate them separately. Observe that 2b minus 4b is nothing but minus 2b. Minus 2b is equals to 12 for unit vector k. So as we substitute, here we get a b is equals to minus 12 by 2, nothing but 6. Minus 6. The value of b is minus 6. Now we have to find the value of b naught. For this we consider the magnitude of unit vector I cap. Observe that 4b naught minus 6 into minus 6 equals to 4. So as we substitute 4b naught minus 6 into minus 6 is 36 equals to 4. So as we bring this 36 towards this side, it converts into minus. 4b naught is equals to minus 36 plus 4, nothing but minus 32. We know that 4 8s are 32. So the value of b naught is minus 8. Value of b naught is minus 8. Then the vector b can be represented as minus 6 I cap, minus 6 j cap, minus 8 a cap. So option is 2. Take a screenshot. We'll continue. And the next problem is a particle of mass m is projected with a velocity v equals to k into v suffix c, where v suffix c is escape velocity of the earth, and observe that k is less than 1 from the surface of the earth. The maximum height above the surface reached by the particle is. So if a body is being projected in the upward direction, how much height it is going to reach based on the escape velocity of the earth, we have to represent in this problem. For this here, when the particle is on the ground, the total energy is given as the sum of potential energy as well as kinetic energy, whereas potential energy is represented as minus g capital M small m by r plus half mv square. But we observe that v is equals to k into v suffix c. As we substitute this value, here we get a minus g capital M small m by r plus half m into k v suffix c whole square. So minus g capital M small m by r plus 1 by 2 m into k square v suffix c square. we know the value of escape velocity, and the escape velocity is represented as under root of 2g capital M by R. So in the place of v suffix c square, we substitute this value. As we substitute here, observe that minus g capital M small m by R plus 1 by 2 m k square into 2g capital M by R. So here 2 gets cancelled. Then the expression is represented as minus g capital M small m by R plus k square into g capital M small m by R. This represents the total energy on the surface of the earth. Now we have to represent the total energy at a height. Why? Because the body is going to reach a maximum height, whereas a total energy at a particular height is given based on the potential and the kinetic energy, whereas the total energy at a height is equals to potential energy at that height is represented as g capital M small m by R plus h, whereas the body comes to rest position at that point, so kinetic energy will be 0. So if we equate both these expressions, total energy on the surface of the earth is equal to total energy at a height h based on conservation of energy, then the equation can be represented as minus g capital M small m by R plus h is equal to minus g capital M small m by R. We can take this g capital M small m by R as common. If we take it as common, it can be represented as 1 minus k square. Why? Because I had taken minus. So observe that minus and minus gets cancelled, minus this g capital M small m gets cancelled. So if you bring this R towards this side, then it can be represented as R by R plus h is equals to 1 minus k square. Now reverse this expression. Numerator is converted into denominator and denominator is converted into numerator. Then the expression can be represented as R plus h by R is equals to 1 by 1 minus k square. Split the LCM. As we split this LCM, observe that R by R is 1 plus h by R is equals to 1 by 1 minus k square. Bring this one towards this side. As we bring this one towards this side, h by R is equal to 1 by 1 minus k square minus 1. So as we do LCM, 1 minus 1 minus of minus k square by 1 minus k square, 1 and 1 gets cancelled. So here h by R is equal to k square by 1 minus k square. Then h is equal to R into k square by 1 minus k square. This represents the height attained by the body. So option is 4. Option is 4. Take a screenshot. We'll continue. And the next problem is 27 drops of same size are charged at 220 volt each. They combine to form a bigger drop. Calculate the potential of the bigger drop. We have to represent the potential of the bigger drop based on the potential of the smaller drop. So for this here, observe that 27 drops are having same size. Means they are having same radius and same mass. Based on that, by conservation of mass, we can represent capital R, where capital R is nothing but radius of the bigger drop is equals to n to the power of 1 by 3 into radius of a smaller drop. Now we are going to apply the conservation of charge. Based on the conservation of charge, we can represent Q is equals to n into Q, where Q is the charge of the bigger drop and small q is the charge of a smaller drop and n is the number of drops. Now we have to represent the potential of the bigger drop, where V suffix B is equals to K into Q by R. So this represents the potential of the bigger drop, where q is equals to nq and r equals to n to the power of 1 by 3 into small r. As we substitute these values, the expression can be represented as k into n to the power of 1 into small q by n to the power of 1 by 3 into small r. If we, as we bring this 1 to n to the power of 1 by 3 towards numerator, it can be represented as 1 minus 1 by 3. 1 minus 1 by 3 is nothing but 2 by 3. Then it can be represented as n to the power of 2 by 3 into k q by r, where q by r represents the potential of the smaller drop. So this can be represented as n to the power of 2 by 3 into v suffix s, where n is equals to 27. As we substitute this, v suffix b is equals to 27 to the power of 2 by 3 into potential of the smaller drop is 220 volt. Then 27 to the power of 2 by 3 is nothing but 3 cube whole to the power of 2 by 3. 3 gets cancelled and here we have 3 square. 3 square is nothing but 9. 9 into 220. 9 2s are 18. 1 will be there. 9 2s are 18. 19. So the potential difference of the bigger drop is 1980 volt. So option is 4. Take a screenshot. We will continue. Observe the next problem. A series LCR circuit containing 5 Henry inductor, 80 microfarad capacitor and 40 ohms resistor is connected to a 230 volt variable frequency AC source. The angular frequencies of the circuit at which power transferred to the circuit is half the power of the resonant angular frequency are likely to be. So here we have to represent the frequency of this circuit. For this the expression is represented as omega equals to resonant frequency plus change in the frequency, where resonant frequency is represented based on 1 by under root of LC plus change in the frequency is represented as R by 12, where L is inductor, C is capacitance and R is a resistance. So 1 by under root of inductance is 5 Henry, 5 into capacitance is 80 microfarad, 80 into 10 to the power of minus 6 plus or minus of resistance is 40 ohms, 40 by 2 into 5, 2 into 5. So also that 1 by under root of 5 is 40 and nothing but 400 into 10 to the power of minus 6. It can also be represented as a 4 into 10 to the power of minus 4. Why? Because 4 into 10 square into 10 to the power of minus 6. So as we add the powers, here we get minus 4. Then it can be represented as 4 into 10 to the power of minus 4 plus or minus of 40 by 2 into 5, 10. 40 by 10. Here observe that 1 0 gets cancelled. Under root of 4 is 2. 1 by 2 into 1 under root of 10 to the power of minus 4 can be represented as 10 to the power of minus 2 plus or minus of 4. So as we take this 10 to the power of minus 2 to numerator, it converts into plus. Plus is nothing but 100 by 2 plus or minus of 4. 100 by 2 is nothing but 50. So here we get a 50 plus or minus of 4. So when we add, here we get an angular frequency as 54 radian per second. So when we subtract 50 minus 4 is 46 radian per second. So here the angular frequency varies from 46 to 54. So option is 3. Take a screenshot. We will continue. Observe the next problem. A uniform conducting wire of length 12A and resistance R is wound up as a current carrying coil in the shape of an equilateral triangle of side A as well as a square of side A. Now we have to represent the magnetic dipole moment of the coil in each case respectively. So here observe that the dipole moment is given as M is equals to NIA, where N is number of turns, I is the current passing through the coil, and A is the area of the coil. First, when we consider an equilateral triangle, it will have three sides. Observe that here the wire length is 12. So here the number of windings will be 4. 4 times can be wounded in the form of a triangle. So here we consider N is equals to 4 and current passing through the coil is I, and area of the triangle is represented as A square into root 3 by 4. So as we substitute these values in this expression, the magnetic dipole moment can be given as 4 into I into A square root 3 by 4. Observe that 4 gets cancelled. So here magnetic dipole moment is given as root 3 I A square. In the case of triangle, now we have to represent magnetic dipole moment in the case of a square, whereas in the case of square, number of turns will be 3. Why? Because it has 4 sides. So 4 sides means here we will get number of turns is 3, whereas the current passing through the coil is I and area of the coil is represented as A square, each of side A. So as we substitute these values, the magnetic dipole moment is given as M is equals to NIA. So here we have 3 I A square. So option is 1. Take a screenshot. We will continue. Observe the next problem. From a circular ring of mass M, radius R, an arc corresponding to a 90 degrees sector is removed. The moment of inertia of the remaining part of the ring and perpendicular to the plane of the ring is k times mr square. Then the value of k is. Here we have to represent the value of k by considering a ring which is of mass M and radius R. So here when we consider the mass of this ring, we consider linear mass density, whereas linear mass density is represented as a lambda, where lambda equals to M by 2 pi R, where R is the radius of this ring. 2 pi R is nothing but circumference of the ring. Now here by using this expression we can represent the mass, where mass capital M is equals to lambda into 2 pi R. So if we consider a small length dx which is having a mass of dm, then for this small mass dm, the mass in terms of linear density is represented as dm equals to lambda into length dx. But we know that lambda equals to m by 2 pi r. As we substitute this value, here dm can be given as nothing but change in the mass m by 2 pi r into dx. By using this mass, we have to represent a change in moment of inertia, whereas a change in the moment of inertia is equals to change in the mass into r square. So here we had removed an arc from this ring which is an angle of 90 degrees. Now in order to find the net moment of inertia for this remaining ring, we integrate the above expression. Integration of di is equals to integration of dm into r square, where dm is equals to m by 2 pi r into dx. As we substitute this, observe that m by 2 pi r into r square into dx. Here one r gets cancelled. So integration of di is I is equals to m into r by 2 pi into integration of dx. Now we have to apply the limits. Observe that 3 by 4th part of the ring is remaining. So these limits are applied as I is equals to mr by 2 pi into 0 to, we consider it as 0, and the ending point is represented as 3 by 4 of 2 pi r, 3 by 4th part of circumference of this ring. So here as we cancel, here we get 2, nothing but 3 pi r by 2, 3 pi r by 2 within dx. So integration of dx is nothing but x. So as we apply the limits, upper limit minus lower limit, then moment of inertia is given as mr by 2 pi into 3 pi r by 2 minus 0, 3 by r by 2 minus 0. So here it can be represented as mr by 2 pi into 3 pi r by 2. Observe that pi gets cancelled, and here 3 by 4 into mr square. Here in this problem, the moment of inertia is represented as k times of mr square. So we can equate this expression with k times of mr square. As we equate both these equations, here we get k is equals to 3 by 4. K equals to 3 by 4. So option is 1. Take a screenshot. We'll continue. And the next problem is, two conducting circular loops of radii r1 and r2 are placed in the same plane with their centers coinciding such that r1 is very much greater than r2. Their mutual inductance M between them will be directly proportional to. So here we consider two circular coils of radii r1 and r2. R1 and R2, whereas their centers are coinciding. Now we have to represent the mutual inductance of the coils based on this. Initially, due to these two circular coils, the magnetic field is represented as B equals to mu naught by 4 pi into 2 pi I by R1 for the first coil. Due to the first coil, in the second coil flux will be generated, whereas the flux is represented as B dot A, BA, where A is nothing but area of the second coil. Then it can be represented as mu naught by 4 pi into 2 pi I by R1 into pi R2 square, pi R2 square. Whereas now here we have to represent a mutual inductance, where mutual inductance is given as the magnetic flux per current I. As we substitute this value, observe that mu naught by 4 pi, pi into pi is nothing but 2 pi square I into R2 square by R1 by I. So here I gets cancelled. So based on that, we can represent a mutual inductance is directly proportional to R2 square by R1. So option is 4. Take a screenshot. We will continue. And the last problem in this NEET 2021 question paper is, a particle moving in a circle of radius r with a uniform speed takes a time t to complete one revolution. If the particle were projected with the same speed at an angle theta to the horizontal, the maximum height attained by it is equals to 4r. The angle of projection theta is then given by, if a particle is rotating in a circular path of a radius r and uniform speed, then we can represent it as v is equals to r omega, where we know that omega equals to 2 pi by t. So as we substitute here, we get v is equals to r into 2 pi by t. Let's square this equation. Then here we get v square equals to 4 pi square r square by t t square. Now, if the same particle is being projected with the same speed and by an angle of theta along the horizontal, then maximum height attained by the particle h max is h is equals to 4r, where we know that the maximum height is equals to v square sine square theta by 2c is equals to 4r, where v square equals to 4 pi square r square by t square. Let's substitute this value in this expression. Then here observe that 4 pi square r square by t square into sine square theta by 2c is equals to 4r. Here observe that one 4 gets cancelled and one r gets cancelled. Then the remaining r pi square r by t square into sine square theta by 2c is equals to 1. So as we bring these remaining terms towards this side, then we get sine square theta is equals to 2g t square by pi square r. Apply square root on both sides. Then sine theta is equals to 2g t square by pi square r whole to the power of 1 by 2. Here we require the value of theta. So as we bring this sine towards this side, it converts into sine inverse. Sine inverse of 2g t square by pi square r whole to the power of 1 by 2. So option is 4. Take a screenshot. Please subscribe my channel, share this video to your friends, and don't forget to give a like to this video. Thank you.